Welcome to a new expanded version of The Observers, Observers Direct. Every few weeks we're going to be taking the time to look into one report in depth. Here's how it works. There's a problem in your community. You tell us about it, we come to you, and together we look into it further. We investigate, we get it all on film, and then we broadcast what we find. Our first Observers Direct comes from Madagascar. These images come from a village in the south of the island nation. They show a massacre. Our observer says the victims are cattle thieves. They were trying to steal local cattle known as zebu, she says, but were caught and slaughtered by angry villagers. So how could simple theft lead to such violence? My colleague Julien Pain went to meet our observer Sai Sandrata and find out more.
Bonjour Sai.
Bonjour Julien.
Comment ça va?
Ça va, ça va, ça va.
So Sai, tell me why you wanted us to come here.
Well, because for months now, zebu thefts have been on the rise. There are more attacks and more thefts.
In September, you went to a village up in the mountains right after a massacre had taken place. Tell me about that.
My mother, who lives in Soneran, called me to tell me there had been an attack in Fenoevo. At that point, we didn't know if the people who had died were villagers or thieves. She told me many people had been killed. So the next day I took my camera and drove out there. There were dead people everywhere, 86 in total. We interviewed people and they told us everything that had happened. They were attacked the day before. Out of the 130 thieves who attacked the village, 86 were killed. I counted them.
These were zebu thieves?
Yes, zebu thieves.
Okay, so why don't we go to this village together?
Okay, I'll take you there.
All right, let's go. The media in Madagascar report that there's a war over zebus going on in the south of the island. Dozens of men, well armed, who attacked villages. But is that really what's going on? We're now in Fenoevo. Fenoevo is the village that our observer talked about, where this horrible massacre took place, and we'll try to meet with the mayor here.
Peut-être, est-ce que vous pourriez me raconter?
Can you tell me, how did you know there was going to be an attack, and how did you prepare for it?
Avant que ça arrive.
The Malas came from Chiang Mai. Some of us have family in Chiang Mai who warned us that the Malas were planning an attack. So we decided to ambush them.
Had the Malas ever come to your village to steal zebus before?
No, never in Fenoevo, but they had attacked another village just a few days earlier. So we knew how they operated, and we got ready to fight back.
What kind of weapons did you take with you?
We had stones, axes, spears, and slingshots.
Okay, so these stones, they went in the slingshots. But what about the Malas? What weapons did they have?
They also had slingshots, axes, and rifles.
But they didn't use the rifles.
Oh yes, they used their rifles.
Okay, so there was one dead among the villagers. Can you show me where this took place?
It happened over there.
Could we go there, so they can show me exactly what happened?
Okay, follow me.
The villagers say they only defended themselves. So what happened to the weapons belonging to the dozens of Malas? Where are the Malas' weapons? Did you collect them after the battle?
People took home whatever they could find.
Yes, it belonged to the villagers.
Can I see one that belonged to the Malas?
Well, when a Malas would get hit by a stone before they fell to the ground, they would throw their weapon far away. These weapons have since disappeared.
So this is where the battle between the villagers and the Malas took place.
Dont vous nous avez parlé entre les Malas et les villageois.
We split up into groups. Some of us were in the front, others on the sides. We made a circle around them.
Was there a real battle? Or did the thieves drop their weapons and try to escape?
When the Malas saw that we weren't scared, they fled. We chased them down and killed them. I killed 2 myself.
He killed 2 men.
So you killed 2 of the Malas. So how do you explain the fact that among the villagers there were so few wounded and only 1 dead, when 86 of the Malas, you say, were killed?
We've got their amulets, but we believe in God. God helped us win, and their amulets apparently didn't work.
Earlier, when we were at the village town hall, we met a man who said he wrote down everything that happened the day of the attack. Can you ask him to show us his notebook?
Can you show us what you wrote?
We captured a girl who was part of the band of thieves. She told us where the Malas came from. They came from Chiang Mai. But she also told us that on the way here, they were joined by men from Minimim.
Is that a village you have good relations with?
In the past, there were wars between our ancestors, but recently we've been getting along okay.
After all these discussions with the villagers here, there are more questions than answers. How come these villagers managed to kill that many thieves without being wounded? I mean, there had been just a few wounded and 1 dead among the villagers, and they killed 86 people. How's that possible? We heard that one of the villagers said that it's because God intervened that the villagers managed to kill everybody. That's, of course, an answer which is far from being compelling.
We decide to go to Minimin by motorcycle. The villagers of Fuenuevo believe that some of the thieves came from this isolated village. After a 3-hour drive to travel just 15 kilometers, we arrive in Minimin.
Bonjour.
In the past, have thieves come to steal zebus from you?
Yes, quite often.
Why do people think you are Malas? In Fuenuevo, people told us that zebu thieves lived here. Why do people think this?
We are not Malas.
Thieves come through here, so people think we're on their side, but it's not true. We just can't stop them.
We leave Minimin without having found any clear answers to our questions. Where do the Malas come from? Perhaps people from this village tried to steal zebus. But perhaps they're victims whose family members were executed in Fuenuevo with machetes and without a trial.
We've just left Fuenuevo and the terrible stories told by the villagers. I'm now in the police station of Ramnafan, which is the police station that covers Fuenuevo, and we'll talk with the policemen here.
Our problem is that we lack equipment. We don't even have a motorcycle.
No motorcycles, no bicycles. Do you have any pickup trucks?
No, we haven't got pickup trucks either.
Donc vous faites tout à pied.
So you have to go everywhere by foot. In the case of Fuenuevo village, could you have done anything to protect its residents from the attack?
Well, the mayor had sent a villager on a motorcycle to alert us. They had no phone to call us with, but we got there too late.
What do you think of the way the villagers responded to this attack?
I congratulated them. When the police kill a Malas, critics start talking about human rights. But when the Malas kill people, where are these human rights then? So yes, I congratulated them.
Now I'm going back to Tana, the capital, to tell to the authorities everything that people told me on the ground. Thank you again, et merci, merci. À bientôt, Sai. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bonjour. Julien Pain.
How come the villagers decided to take the law into their own hands, instead of asking the police officers, who have guns, to help them?
This is due to a lack of education. We're definitely not instructing people to take up arms against thieves.
That's interesting, because the police officer we met in Ramnathan told us that he had congratulated the villagers and that the villagers did not get into trouble for what they did.
Our preliminary investigation leads us to believe that this was a case of legitimate defense.
They defended themselves in the way they could. I think the best defense is attack.
Surely, as a minister, you can't be satisfied with the fact that the police, who was 15 kilometers away, didn't intervene, and that these people massacred 86 people.
You have to understand that a sort of people's justice exists. We don't have this type of people's justice in France, but in developing countries, we still have cases of vigilantism.
The authorities told us clearly that they were not able to enforce the rule of law everywhere in the country. So they even asked sometimes the villagers to take the justice in their own hand, with the tragic consequences we saw in Fenovo. I gave them the conclusions of our investigation in the south. It's now time to head back to Paris.
That was the first edition of Observers Direct. We hope you liked it. Our weekly show continues, of course, so keep watching. And if you have a story you think might interest us, a problem or an injustice in your community that the world needs to know about, get in touch. You can contact our team via the website or by Twitter or Facebook, and maybe we'll come meet you in person.